Hello, coders. We're back again, and we're on to part 3 of Cheese Chase. We're not going to cover a lot of different things, but we're going to cover two things, and one of them is going to take a little while because as I've been trying to build the maze in this game, it's been it's been a little challenging, and so I'm going to try to take my time to explain to you how to work it. If you were here last time, you saw that we got to this point, and I'm going to just run real quick. You can see I've got the mouse that moves, and we go get the cheese, and after a while the ghost is going to appear and chase the mouse. And you also see the score is showing up. Okay, so that's this game. That's what we got. So we're going to add to it just a little bit. Again, like I said, we're going to do two things. One of them is pretty simple, and one of them is it's going to take a little time, and I'm going to, when I get to it, I'll explain what my issue is with it, and we'll go from there. So we're going to start on the ghost sprite because the one thing that I planned to do last time but ran out of time was I wanted to add some sound, some music to the ghost sprite, and if I add it to the ghost sprite, then it'll play for the entire game. So the way we're going to add music, add sound, just like earlier we added the where did we add the sound for the? Oh yeah, on the cheese sprite we set it up right here. Start sound pop. Anytime the mouse touches the cheese, it pops. Okay, we're going to do the same thing now with the ghost. Anytime the game is going on, we want to be where the ghost or where there's music playing. Okay, so to do that, we're going to have to first do another event in the ghost script. So when clicked, that's kind of a cool thing. Within the script, you can have numerous things happening. When clicked, this happens. Also, when clicked, this happens. Also, when clicked, this happens. And what I want to do is I want to use the control button, control block. So when click forever, there's a certain sound I want to play. And we're playing sound. Okay, so I don't know what space ripple is, but we're just going to try and see what that is. Excuse me. Now, if you like that sound, you can keep it. Otherwise, you can go here and go to this staying on the sound page. Actually, I'm not staying on the sound page. I can go to the sound page and I can pick a new sound. Just like we pick sprites over here, we can pick new sounds. We've covered this before, but it's good to show you again. We can upload a sound. If I had a sound that I'd found on the internet, I could use it, or I could record a sound. But I'm going to choose a sound, and I'm looking for you can hear what all these sounds sound like, but I'm looking for something called Xylo. And I like that sound, so I'm going to add it to my mix. And then we go to code, and we're going to add it to your Xylo 1. So now I'm going to save that. Anytime this plays, so now okay, so I've added the music, I've added the sound to it. So now we're going to move on to the next addition to this, and that is going to be where we're going to add a maze. Okay, I'm going to real quick go to the other version of this game I made earlier. Got to open it, and you can see when I made it before, but there's a maze here. It's purple and gold, and that maze I made that maze. Okay, and to be as honest as possible. My skills with drawing are not real great. You can see the lines there in my maze were not real great. When I made my cheese, it's not super. But hope, if you go in, you want to make something yourself. If you're good at drawing, or you're good at drawing on a computer, add it in there, because you can personalize it. But I'm going to do the best I can to make a maze. And the way to do it, the maze is actually going to be a sprite. So I'm going to choose a sprite, but instead of going here to choose a sprite, I have to paint it. I have to create it from scratch. Okay, and as we create it from scratch, this is where it gets a little tricky. First, when we're creating the maze, right here, this little button here where it says convert to bitmap, we're going to convert it to bitmap. Okay, because that's going to make it a little, that's just the format it has to be in. So if it's here, that's not where you want it. If it says convert to bitmap, that means it's in vector. And if you do it here, then it's in bitmap. Okay, and you want to, if you don't see the screen like this, if it's not this far, if it's not this size, then it may look like that when you open it, or it may look like this. But I found that it's easier to do the maze when you're seeing the screen like this. Okay, and it takes a little finagling, but we're going to pick the line tool right here. And for mine, I'm going to keep my line is going to be this kind of purplish color, and I'm going to make it a little thicker. I'm going to make it about 12 thickness, and then all you do is you're going to go here and you're going to draw a line down the side, because our maze, first we need to have the complete edge drawn like that. Okay, you do it like that, and then you need to check over here on the stage to make sure it shows up, because I've found that if you don't do that, then sometimes if you go too far over, it will be off the stage. So it's kind of, you got to see what you're doing. Now I'm going to draw the top here and go all the way across, and I think this should work. But see there, if I go to the screen, see it's too high where I drew it. It's too high. It's not showing up on the stage, so I got to get rid of that. And one way I can do is I can say I'm going to back up and get rid of that one I just did. If I come down here though and go over, I think that's going to show up on the screen. See, if I go to the full screen, there it is. It's at the top. Okay, and then I go over here, and it's kind of just a trial and error. You see where does the line show up, where does it not show up. If I go here, I think I might be too far to the right. It's not going to show up on the stage yet. So I go here. It's not there. So I'm going to back up, and I'm going to try again. I'm going to go over to the right a little bit and see, maybe that'll show up on my page. It's just barely there. So what I want to do is I want to come over just a skosh more and make the line like right there, because I want to get the line as close to the edges of the screen as I can. But as we're seeing, it's not going to be possible to get it right at the edges. It's just the way this thing is designed. So there, see, I got three sides. Now we'll go to the bottom, and we got to go here and go across the bottom. Okay, so that's the start. I'm going to save that, and it's like that. Okay, so I got the four parts of the outside. Now you'll notice that means if I run this, whoops, if I run it, let's go back to the full screen. I got my music, but now sometimes the cheese is going to end up outside the box, outside the maze, and I'm going to show you how we're going to fix that later. But right now we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to worry about the maze. Okay, so we're drawing the maze, and I've got this here, and so I'm going to add some lines on the inside. They're still going to be the same color, same width. It's going to go like this, and you can't draw. You have to stop everywhere you want there to be a point on your maze. Okay, and you can make your maze look like this, like mine is. You can copy mine. That's fine. or you can decide how you want the maze to look. Okay, mine's going to be like that, and then I'm going to have a line here-ish. Okay, one thing to keep in mind is you want to have space between lines so the ghost can move and the mouse can move and things can move around, but you can adjust as it goes. And you can see my lines aren't the best. Keep my maze pretty simple here. It's going to be like this, like this. And I'll tell you this, as you move on with your game, if you find out that the maze doesn't work, the beauty of it is, let's say I start playing and I don't like that, I can go here and I can erase. I don't like this line. I'm gonna get rid of it. Okay, maybe I'll get rid of the line and maybe have like a break there and then come down here. You can change the line. You can have this line angle a little bit if you want. Okay, everything is open to being changed a little bit if you want. That's it's your game. You can make it how you want. So there's that. That's my maze. Okay, I'm going to save it and turn it up here. Now you can see this version. We got the music and everything moves through the walls at the moment. The cheese even goes outside the walls. Still works the same way. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is show you how to make it so the I'm going to check time here real quick. We're at just 10. Okay, we might be able to do a little bit more than I thought. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to set it so that the game, the maze I should say, always ends up in the same place. So what I need to do is here's the costume. See, I went on the costume page, and that's the costume for this sprite, the maze. Okay, but I want to make the code for the maze. And all I need to tell it is whenever the screen is clicked or whenever the green flag is clicked, I want to go somewhere. And where I want to go is go to X0 and Y0. And that is the exact center of the page. And that means the center of the maze will go to the center of the page. So if you watch here, it's probably going to move just a little bit. See, it moved. So now it's moving. Okay, we still have the problem though with that. The cheese is going a little too close to and it has the potential to go outside the maze, which we don't want that. But we're going to deal with that in a little bit. But the next thing I need to do though is what do I need to do next? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I didn't think I'd have time to do this, but I'm going to do this real quick. Yeah, I want to show you next what we're going to do, how we get the mouse to work so that it can't go through the walls. Okay, so we have our mouse, and if you remember the code we did for the mouse before was when the green flag was clicked, the mouse was set to size 40% of its normal size. If you push the up arrow, it does this. If you push the right arrow, it does this. Push the down arrow, it does this, and push the left arrow, it does this. What we're going to do, it's going to move 5 steps. What we need to do though is add something, a new event, and it's an if-then, and I believe it's under here. Nope, it's under control. If-then, and this is going to go down here. Hold on, let me do this, make it a little easier to understand. If we go to pull out an if-then block, and what I want to say is, for the mouse, if the mouse is touching, I need to find a sensing block. If the mouse is touching, where are those? Oh yeah. If the mouse is touching sprite 2, remember the maze is sprite 2. So if the mouse is touching any part of sprite 2, it's going to do something. And what that's going to be is, it's going to go back 5 steps. So instead of moving 5 steps, we're going to tell it to go -5. Okay, and what that means is the following. I'm going to pull it up here. If the mouse, I gotta keep dragging this up here. So what's going to happen is I go to right here. If the up arrow is pushed, what that means is if we look right here, it's, this is the mouse's script. We're going to have to do this for each arrow. But if I push the up arrow and point, it's going to make the mouse go up and move 5 steps. But if in doing that the mouse touches the sprite number 2, then it's going to move back 5 steps. So what that means is if I push the up arrow and it hits a wall, then it's going to go bounce back. Let me see if I can show you how that's going to work in the game. Hang on, let me save it first so I don't lose anything. Okay, we're saving it. Alright, so we start the game. Okay, so every time I hit that wall, it's not going through, right? If I were to hit the down arrow, or there, see, it goes through right, it goes through left, goes through right, but it doesn't go down. It will go by. Okay, so that's because I've only set up one of those. Right now, the up, it can't go up through a wall, but I want to set it up so it can't go up through a wall, it can't go down through a wall, it can't go left through a wall or right. So what that means is this little code here, if touching sprite 2, then move back 5 steps, I have to do that 4 times. Okay, I have to do it here for the up arrow. I'm going to have to do it here for the right arrow. I'm going to have to do it here for the down arrow and here for the left arrow. And that will prevent the mouse from being able to go through any wall. So I'm going to move this. Where is my... I'm going to scroll my code down a little bit. There's the right arrow. That's the next one. So I'm going to go if, and it's going to go here. Okay, and then sensing, if the mouse touches sprite number 2, remember that's what the maze is called right now, sprite number 2, then we're going to move motion, we're going to move, remember, and it's going to move back 5 steps. Okay, so there, we're going to save that. So now we've done 2. Now the mouse won't be able to go up through a wall, and it won't be able to go right through a wall. We're going to do down arrow next, and it's the same thing. Control, if, and it's got to go here, because this is where the down arrow motion is going. Sensing, if it's touching sprite number 2, right? Sprite number 2, then we're going to have it move, what? Back 5 steps. Now, to explain that a little bit, let me do the last one here. If the mouse is touching the sprite number 2, if it's touching a wall, it's going to go back 5 steps. And I didn't know this. This is something I learned in making this, how this works. So if you've got the game and you're moving the mouse up and it hits the wall, you notice in the code it says it goes forward 5 and it goes back 5. And you may be asking yourself, why don't I say it go up and back? It's because it happens so fast that you can't even see it happen. Okay, it goes up and back, and it's you won't even see it. But that's how you stop it. It can't go through a wall. It's never going to go through a wall. Now let's run it, and you're going to see. There's my mouse. So I can go right. I can't go. All right, now you see here what's happening. I don't know if you noticed that, but the mouse is here, and its tail is touching the wall. I don't know if y'all noticed that or not, but this is another thing, a glitch that you could have in your game, and I wasn't sure if it was going to happen or not. It did, so I'm going to need to fix it. When I turned right, the mouse was okay, but as soon as I turned up, the tail would hit the wall, so that would stop it. Now it's stuck. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but it's stuck on me. So what I can do, this is something the game showed me. Again, I told you, doing this maze, it's pretty involved. But if the mouse is getting stuck, you can see where the tail is stuck right there on the edge. That's just kind of a little thing. But what I can do for this mouse, I can go in there, convert it to bitmap, like I did on the other one, and then I can erase. And what I'm going to do is it's going to make my mouse look kind of weird, but it's not going to have any. You got a tailless mouse now, but it's going to make it so that that glitch isn't going to happen. Okay, so we had a tail here, right? Let me get here. We had a tail sticking out, and the tail would catch on the wall, and to make it so you'd have to restart the game, and it's a glitch in the game. It's a bug you have to correct. Okay, it might be worth considering making this game with some creature that doesn't have a tail. Make it more so it doesn't have any things hanging out. They're going to get caught on things. You might find that it does the same thing with these whiskers too, or with the legs. Okay, so something to keep in mind. But usually, like if I get rid of that tail, that should fix the problem. See, now I'm right up against it, but it doesn't get caught. There, I got the cheese, but oh, and there the ghost got me. I didn't expect the ghost to get me. We're going to try it again. Maybe the ghost won't get me this time. But there goes my cheese. But now I can't go through the walls, right? I got to go around them. Makes it a little more challenging. Hopefully, but I can get up close. I can get up close to the walls and then turn. And now my tail's not getting caught, which it was before. Which you don't like that. But that's what the problem was. I wasn't sure if that was going to happen, but I was ready if it did happen. Okay, so again, well, what we did today. Let me check my time. I think we're about ready to stop. Okay, today we did 3 things. In case you don't remember, we looked at the ghost and we added this xylo sound to it. Okay, and we also looked at the sound button and saw you could add other sounds if you wanted to. We listened to this space rip sound, but you can find whatever sound you want. I'm going to keep the funky xylophone for the sound of my game, but if you'd rather have it be a space sound for your game, that's perfectly fine. You can change it. It's your game. Okay. Second thing we did was we built this sprite in the costume section of Sprite 2, and remember you have to convert it to bitmap to make it how it needs to be, and you had to kind of finagle with it to get it to fit on the screen pretty well. And a little spoiler alert for the next video, we're going to talk a little bit about how you can make sure the cheese stays within the boundaries, because if it's outside the game, then the mouse won't be able to get to it. And the third thing we did, which I wasn't planning to do, but we did it and it's cool, was we added this here, this code here, so whenever the mouse touches a wall, any kind of wall, it's going to back up 5 steps. And you don't even see it. It goes up and back so fast you don't see it. And we briefly talked about, hey, let's get the tail off this mouse so it doesn't get stuck on the wall. And I'll assure you that this is not a real mouse. No real mice were harmed in the making of this video. We just cut off a tail of a clip art mouse. So that's it. With that, I am going to finish this one. Okay, this is part 3. Part 4 is coming up next. What we're going to talk about in part 4, I'm going to quickly show you, here's how you can make sure the cheese stays within the boundaries. We're going to also talk about adding some another enemy, probably a beetle, to chase the mouse, to add to the challenge of it. And then I might add a little high score button. I think the next video is going to be the end. We'll finish the game and maybe leave you some things you could do to add to it to make it extra customized. But I think the 4th video is going to be where you can finish it, and we'll talk about how you can share it with people if you don't know that already. So that's it. If you're not sure how to share, you can go look at my video where I finished the previous game, Star Chaser, which was I think that was a 3-parter. So if you look at part 3, I show how to share videos there too. But that's it. I appreciate you watching, and watch my other videos, and keep an eye out for part 4 where I finish up Cheese Chase. Thank you very much.